Hey, welcome back. In between my travels, I want to do long form content that's not really dependent on editing, but rather like more of a research based and trying to understand a specific subject and just talking about that, or generally what's just going on in life or on the internet. And sometimes I have this sort of hyperfixation on things where I'll like fall into this deep rabbit hole about a specific subject or a specific topic, and a lot of the times it's not like the most productive specific subjects or topics. It's not like I'm like falling in love with my calculus homework and I'm like watching 1,000 videos about calculus. It's more like like right now it's parasocial relationships, and I've been watching a lot of videos about that, and I've been reading a lot of papers about that. And when it comes to parasocial relationships, I feel like people don't treat it like a scale where it's like, sure, it could be really, really bad, but it could also be just neutral or even good sometimes. But rather, everyone treats it as if it was just this horrible thing. It's black and white. And a lot of the times it's black. It's like parasocial relationships are terrible. If you go search up parasocial relationships, all the papers that are covering it is talking about like all the negative things and all the evil things about parasocial relationship and how parasocial relationship is bad. People who are in parasocial relationships are often looked down upon, as well as what's it called in the YouTube videos. The anyone that's covering the parasocial relationship, what's it called? Well, sort of take this tone of them being better than the person they're talking about. Like the examples, they'll give you like examples of different people who are in a parasocial relationship, and a lot of the times, and the scale is extremely, extremely, extremely weird. You know what I mean? It's not like a neutral parasocial relationship, because here's the thing, in my opinion, and in reality, parasocial relationships are a normal thing that each and every one of us participates in. It's not something that's specialized for the weirdos or like the outcasts of our society, but rather everybody. And like for example, let's say you're into sports, right? Majority of Americans are into sports, myself included. Uh, you follow that sport. You have a favorite team. You have a favorite player. The reality of it is that that player doesn't know you. That player, that team, don't know that you even exist, let alone like know you personally to engage within the relationship that you have. And a lot of people don't see that as a parasocial relationship. And we're gonna define parasocial relationship as in like a one-sided relationship, meaning like one person is either more invested in or only invested in. Like for example, a sports fan, uh, like I live in Minnesota. A lot of people are Minnesota Timberwolves fans. Our best player right now is Anthony Edwards. So obviously he has a lot of fans, and he's a really, really good player. Majority of the people who are fans of Anthony Edwards does not know that he exists. Same as Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi or LeBron. I don't know if you've been on the internet lately, especially on TikTok, but there's this whole section of basically LeBron sexuals who will make so many songs about LeBron and go extreme about LeBron. And some of it's jokes, some of it is real. Like, for example, you'll see like a grown man absolutely bawl his eyes out about his favorite team losing. And that is a one-sided relationship. The management of that team, the players of that team, do not know that dad exists or that old man exists or that middle-aged man exists. Yet, it's still, which makes it a parasocial relationship. People don't see that as a parasocial relationship. I don't know why they don't see that as a parasocial relationship, but it is a parasocial relationship. Now, a lot of the time when the coverage of parasocial relationship is being done, it's being done in a way that is extreme. You know what I mean? Like people will talk about parasocial relationships, and the examples they'll give you is like a stalker or whatever. That person just committed a crime. Their flaw is them committing a crime, not them being in a one-sided relationship. It's funny because like a lot of streamers will be more prone to like dealing with parasocial relationship because that is a live thing where the fans or that streamers get a very quick response from their person that they're like fanning over. Like if I'm watching a movie, the movie is not talking back to me. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm looking at The Rock, and it's not like I could communicate with The Rock or whatever the case is. But if it's someone that's a fan of a streamer, obviously they'll type something. The streamer will read that what they typed or whatever the case is, and they'll get this like quick release of dopamine in their head. They'll be like, "Oh yeah," and even yourself, you could literally go on to a live stream and type something, and if what you typed in the sort of chat room gets read by the person who's hosting the live stream, there's gonna be a little psychological spotlight effect where you feel, feel a little good, sort of hooking you in to stay, and that's why I would say why I understand like parasocial relationship sort of being more, you know, people dealing it more with streamers, but streamers also participate in sort of harboring these relationships. It's not like it's a one side. Well, it's not completely one sided. It's not like it's all the fault of the person who's in this parasocial relationship, but rather it's also the streamers. Like unlike any other content creator, streamers will basically put their lives out there, put their very personal parts of their lives out there, or will do like a 24-hour or like a month-long stream where they stream every single thing they do. It's a human nature to sort of feel more comfortable around people, to sort of make it sort of feel like it's easier to connect with that person the more you experience of that person. And then for streamers to like come and be like, well, I don't know why this is happening. Well, I don't know why this is happening or whatever the case is. It just doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not saying I blame the streamers for participating in the parasocial relationship. I would say let's not treat parasocial relationship as this awfully terrible thing, and let's treat it as a scale. Because if we treat it as this black and white thing, people won't realize that they're in a parasocial relationship up until the point that they actually committed a crime, up until the point that they actually did something wrong against someone. But from the beginning, if you understand that, hey, this is a parasocial relationship that is only one-sided and I'm only invested in this and the other person is not, there's gonna be there's gonna be some sort of like a barrier and understanding committing you to not committing these crimes or not basically throwing your lives away. And like for example, the earlier example that I used of that sports dad or that sports middle-aged man watching sports, he understands that these players don't know him. Therefore, he doesn't go out of his way to try to find those players' homes and stuff like that. But when it comes to streamers, they make it seem like the communication that's happening between the streamer and the chatter is one of intimacy, the same way as me having a conversation with a friend or whatever the case is, making them feel like, hey, this is just another friend, rather than like, oh, this is someone that's there to entertain me, and the only reason that I'm also here is because they benefit from my views, rather than like, oh, this is an actual friendship. You know what I mean? Sort of understanding that like from the beginning, this is a parasocial relationship. And from the perspective of the streamer, there could be a slight parasocial relationship. And this could also go for like YouTube content creators or anything like that. There could be a slight parasocial relationship where like they're very like obsessed about their views or what their fans would say, and that they tailor their content based on that. But like, from comments that are being made from people who don't even have their faces in their profiles. So it's not like completely one-sided, but it's also more dominant. Like the chatter is in the position that's more invested in than the streamer, because like the streamer gets paid for streaming and engaging you into this parasocial relationship, or the YouTuber or whatever the case is. The chatter does not. They often lose money. It shocks me, honestly, the amount of, like, I'll go see Twitch streams once in a while just to look at the numbers, and it shocks me. Like Hassan, who's like a political commentary. Oh my god, I'm so sauced up today. I'm so tired. We'll have like 34,000 people watching him watch the news, or he'll like talk about different what's going on in American politics, and it's interesting, obviously, but I'm just surprised that 34,000 people are sitting there watching him just like watch the news or watch what the Trump administration is doing or whatever the case is. It blows my mind. Genuinely blows my mind. Or like I don't know, like Kai Cenat, 89,000 people sitting there watching him either play video games or basically chill out in his house doing things. Now there are certain streamers where I kind of get like streamers who do different activities, who like either traveling, like what's his name? Fuck, Speed does. Speed will travel to different countries and basically stream. I think that I could kind of see like why people would watch that, but every time I look at like clips of what's it called, Twitch streamers, I'm just surprised on like how the type of people that would watch that. Now, here's the thing: I am no better. I'm no better because I will watch the NBA playoffs is going on, and I basically watch every game. And like, it's not like one game a day; it's like 2, 3 games a day, and I'll watch all of them games, and all of those games would be like a couple hours each game. So I'll like on a good Sunday, on a good Sunday afternoon, I'm watching all the games, and I'm also a soccer fan, so like, uh, I'll watch all the Madrid games. I just watched the Copa del Rey. That shit was horrible. Losing to Barcelona 3-2 is annoying, but that that's what I see people who watch streams basically as. It's like, oh, they're watching their favorite sort of like sports things or whatever the case is. And a lot of people don't see that the same way because they'll be like, oh, well, I would never be in a parasocial relationship because this is yada, yada, yada. But they themselves are in a parasocial relationship. For examples, even if you read books, I love reading. One of my favorite authors is Albert Camus, who's a French Algerian writer who is a fantastical writer. Fantastic. Uh, he gets me to engage with these what's it called books by making me care about the characters. Now, here's the thing: the parasocial relationship doesn't have to always be one of love. It could genuinely just be one of hate. I hate every single character of Albert Camus' what's it called books. The main character, especially. The Stranger is a book that I would recommend to everyone. It's a really, really good book. It's really, really fun read. It will get you to think deeply about things. I fucking hate the main character. He is a self-absorbed, hyper-individualistic fucker who genuinely just cares about the now of things rather than like anyone or anything else. And that frustrates me as someone that like comes from a background of like you're a part of something. You're part of a community. You weren't born alone. You have to look after each other. When I read books like that, I'm like, dude, how can you have this perspective? This perspective is so wrong. And there's other books who do something similar, but it's more of a love thing, where like a lot of fantasy books will have their fan base engaged by loving their characters or sort of seeing their character. See the fan base will see themselves in the situation of those characters. That is a parasocial relationship. You know what I mean? That's a one-sided relationship. If you like movies, K-pop, what's it called? Fans, that is that might be a bit of extreme example of parasocial relationship because those guys go ridiculous. It's actually crazy the obsession that they have with parasocial relationships. What did I just play? Oh, the obsession they have with what's it called? K-pop idols. Fun facts: good amount of those people don't even speak Korean, so they're not understanding what the hell the Korean artists are singing. I'm just so surprised. Here in America, every time I talk to someone that sees themselves as a K-pop fan, they don't understand it. And I'm talking like very, very basic Korean, and I'm like, what is the interest here then? What is the interest of like listening to K-pop? And a lot of the times it's that parasocial relationship, that one-sided, like they see themselves as potentially, I don't know, being in a relationship with them. Is that ever going to be the case? Fuck no. The reality of it is no. But you see how crazy they go. Another good example would be a while back, or actually like a while back, Justin Bieber was like a teenage heartthrob basically, and every teenage girl was in love with him. And all of those moments were, every single one of those fans were in a one-sided relationship. Now, all of them weren't criminals. All of them weren't stalking him or whatever the case is. But that's what I'm saying. Parasocial relationship essentially is like this sliding scale where like we're all in it. Legitimately, there's not a single person who is not on a one-sided relationship, whether it's with things or people. It's just like how far gone are you? You know what I mean? How close are you to being a criminal? And for me, the sort of grading scale of this is too far gone is, have you committed a crime? Have you made people feel uncomfortable to the point that they're calling someone to get help? You know what I mean? That should be the sliding scale, rather than like parasocial relationship good or bad, or just the bad. If you're in, because then we don't understand like how we got here, like how like more and more people are basically acting out in a way that is very criminal in their parasocial relationship, is because, and that's because they're not understanding that, hey, you were already in this parasocial relationship, you're going too far out now. That's all that's happening right now. You're in too far out, so come back. You've gone too far out. You need to come back. You need to relax. You need to go back to a point where like, it's more neutral, and you're not, wasting $50,000 on an OnlyFans model, or you're not stalking some singer, and now you're spending the rest of your life in prison, or like the next 10 years in prison. Or you're now spending all your like life savings sending a chat to like a streamer that genuinely doesn't care about you, and they're not. It's not that they don't care about you because they're like terrible people or anything like that. It's just they don't know you like that. They don't know you like that. You know about them more than they know about you, and like maybe they care about you. They would care about you if they know you more, but they don't know you more. Like, so it should be like that. We should see parasocial relationship as this like like the sliding scale. Like I said, I think that's the best way to go about it. That way we could sort of inform people a little better, and like they themselves could be aware, and they're like, okay, I'm going too far to the point where like it's no longer good or healthy, rather than like, oh my god. Because the reality is, if you see yourself in a shitstorm, you're gonna be like, how the fuck did I get here? And like, it's easier not to get to that situation if you already know, like you're already like on a slippery slope, or you're already on what's it called, in a situation where it could get that bad. you know if you know that things could get that bad, you're more aware of things, and you're more careful of things. Like for me, I know I genuinely love enjoy and enjoy watching sports, and I know like it could get bad. You know what I mean? I could like it could be extremely obsessive, where the result of games could affect my emotions. So I make sure like it doesn't get that bad. Like for example, I have certain rules where I don't bet on sports whatsoever. It doesn't matter how much I know about that sport. Simply because I know like that is like that's a line that I can't come back from. And for me, that's that stalker level. Like, if someone is stalking their favorite singer, for me betting on my favorite team would be like, ooh, yeah, we've gone too far, we're in the deep end. But yeah, anyways, that is what I wanted to yab about parasocial relationships, especially treating it as a sliding scale, and making sure that like we're all aware that we're in a parasocial relationship, rather than like only certain group of people, like degenerates among us, or like the worst of the worst among us, are the only ones that are in like a parasocial relationship. But yeah, stop it.